Okay, which one's this? Let's see how they compare. Well, I did one. I got to find out which one I sent him. Well, right, but I had one of them. See if two of those are the same and get rid of it. Whichever one's like I'm talking about, just throw the weights. The Mustangs, right? Okay.
As a point of clarification, just so you are aware of where the matches will be happening, the east mat, which is the darker blue mat, will be Mountain Crest versus Skyview Varsity, and then we will wrestle some extra matches on the lighter blue mat with orange accents. That will be Mountain Crest versus Star Valley JV to start tonight.
Welcome, Star Valley. Welcome, Cache Valley. It's Blake Angel, January 3rd, as the Lady Braves Wrestling take on the Mustangs from Mountain Crest, Utah. We are live with SVI Media, a few minutes behind schedule as the teams prepare to shake, get the team captains and the draw established, and we'll start here shortly. First on the agenda, we'll start JV matches. They'll be on the Mustang blue mat that you should see in your screen. And then we'll back up if we need to show both mats at the same time in the event Star Valley wrestlers take both match. But at least at this time, it looks like two Utah schools will be going against each other on the other mat. And Star Valley will stick solely to the Mustang mat with the orange accents, as the announcements at least informed us. So be patient as we begin. It's going to be another great night of wrestling. Just by way of background, the Mustangs are ranked number 1 in the division of Utah that they represent, so they have a full team. Lots of good quality wrestlers. Star Valley, unofficially, I believe we could also say they're ranked number 1 as they put out the rankings here just a couple of weeks ago. We are still very short in our season. Utah has been going a little longer.
On the varsity mat, Brenda Cowley from Mountain Crest receives a forfeit.
Star Valley, of course, opened their year season just a couple of weeks before Christmas. So there's a lot of time that we don't have under our belts, but I'll tell you what, the team is looking extremely strong. We've had some powerful wrestlers that are returning, both by way of state placers and a fresh crop of very aggressive, outgoing wrestlers on the young ladies' side.
Hannah Sanders from Mountain Crest also receives a forfeit. And Hannah Sanders from Mountain Crest on the JV mat also receives a forfeit. Next up, at 110 pounds on the varsity mat, Kimberlyn Anderson from Mountain Crest receives a forfeit. And at 110 pounds on the JV mat will be Haley Luck versus Kenna Merritt from Star Valley.
All right. We have Kenna Merritt going to break the ice for the Star Valley side of things.
Nora Pickup from Mountain Crest receives a forfeit. And next up on the varsity mat, at 120 pounds, Georgia LeBlanc from Mountain Crest versus Hannah Belknap from Skyview. We will have change We will go to 115 pounds on the JV mat. 115 pounds from Mountain Crest, Autumn Radmall. And from Star Valley, Hallie Robertson.
So a quick adjustment in the scheduling. We're going to go to Hallie Robertson to represent Star Valley to break that ice. So I apologize. Kenna Merritt will be coming up shortly, I'm sure, but we're moving to Hallie Robertson. Her opponent from Mountain Crest already on the mat. And I'm sure Hallie, that took her a little bit by surprise because that was not the original order. But I'm sure, she is. She's getting her warm-ups off now, so she should be taking the mat. I just hope she had a little time to warm up, at least get mentally prepared, because that was kind of a last-minute throw in there that she's up now. If you've ever wrestled, that's always one of those nerve-wrackers to find out you have 5-6 minutes, and then all of a sudden they change the schedule and say, you're on. When? 10 seconds. So one of the great things about wrestling, it teaches that mental toughness and to face challenges with a little bit of uncertainty, and you get used to that. All right, Hallie Robertson. Both wrestlers filling each other out a little bit. Hallie is phenomenal at stalking. She will move her feet very methodically, but when she goes, she explodes. So she's going to feel which side of her opponent is strong, probably gauge which leg to attack, and which setup she's going to engage. You can see Mountain Crest is big on reaching for the head, and Hallie's more than likely going to take advantage of that after a few times and shoot. That's just my prediction. So we'll see how that materializes.
Next up on the varsity mat at 125 pounds is Charlie Parker from Mountain Crest and Allison.
Hands to the face. Ref stops it and said, let's keep the hands down lower. We're going to restart. So back to the center we go.
Next up on the varsity mat at 130 pounds after this match will be Kenna Merritt. Will be receiving a forfeit.
So if you didn't catch that announcement, Kenna will receive a forfeit the first match. Hallie shoots in, comes back out. Mountain Crest attempts an arm drag. Hallie's great, breaks the tie. Fighting hands, gunfighting a little bit. Ignore that announcement. That's for the other matches going on. If you overhear the announcer.
By ball is Charlie Parker of Mountain Crest.
Hallie still filling out. Great double leg on the duck. She's under. She turns the corner, takes the ankle, covers for 2 points. Takedown, Hallie Robertson. She's got a great cross wrist on now. Excellent pressure. She goes to the side, pulls up to a hammerlock position, and she does indeed get that. Puts it right in the back pocket where it's good, and she's going to reach over on her opponent's right hand, go right underneath the pit, connect that. If she can stay in bounds, and we run out of bounds. I believe the time was short also, but two things, time and real estate, as you gauge which direction to go, and they did indeed go out of bounds. So looks like we ran out of town as well, out of time as well. Hallie takes down.
Haley Sharp from Mountain Crest receives a forfeit.
We'll see how long it takes Hallie to get out of here. I'm guessing she's going to catch some hands and fingers and explode right on out. Her top.
And at 145 pounds, Maggie Fudge from
Now,
Mountain
top
Crest
opponent
versus
just locked her
Metro
hands.
Zero.
If you look at the ref, you'll see the ref has a penalty. And there we go. I don't know if you can see that in the camera. So for those watching, what that means is the top opponent, if they even touch their hands together while the other wrestlers on the bottom position, the bottom position wrestler receives a point. And so now the score is 3-0. However, pinning combinations don't apply there. So if you have a head and an arm, known as a cowboy or a headlock, you can actually lock. Bear hug, you can lock. And there's a certain small number of moves where you can actually connect and lock your hands. But no locking around the body and anything else where you actually can sink a good tight, kind of like a snake grip on somebody. They stop that. Now in freestyle, it's a little different. This is collegiate, also known as high school folk style wrestling, and you cannot lock. Hallie down, up to her feet, takes another point. Score is now 4-0 as she sweeps that near leg, almost goes to a cradle, but takes the takedown. Hard crossface. She reaches under for a barbed wire and says there's a cradle a little closer. Oh, and we run out of real estate, but we're going to get back points. Notice Hallie's toes are still in. New rule a few years ago, as long as your toes are in, you can not only get points, you can pin your opponent out of bounds. That looks a little unorthodox because as you see, her opponent is actually on the hardwood with one of her feet. But they're going to keep wrestling. Mountain Crest in a very tough situation there. If she turns back towards Hallie, it's just going to gain more ground for Hallie to pull her in. But going the other direction towards the hardwood is almost impossible as Hallie has all of her weight. She's teed up nice. She's looking at the ref saying, what else can I do? Now, she's got to be careful. That toe, if it moves out of bounds, there we go. And she gets the win by fall as Star Valley takes the lead. Now, because these are the JV matches, there'll be some unofficial points being kept. I don't know if they'll give those to us, but in a sense right now, Star Valley leads 6-0 against Mountain Crest. Up next, it looks like we have Alexis Angel is at the table checking in, as well as her opponent from Mountain Crest. This moves up to the 120-pound weight class.
And at the end of the first period, we have a score of 6-2 for Skyview. Skyview Furs. And Mountain Crest.
Once again, we apologize for the double announcements. The announcer is broadcasting the Utah teams who are on a mat across the way, but we are just focusing on Star Valley wrestlers right now, which is the Mustang orange and blue mat. So if you
Next up on the JV mat at 120 pounds, Georgia LeBlanc.
If you hear some overriding noise, that's probably not, well, actually, that one was right. So right when I say so, I'm wrong. So the announcer did indeed announce Alexis and her opponent, which I did not catch her name. Did you catch the name? All right, neutral position. Here we go. Alexis putting on a great stock. Sweep single, little slow on the shot, but she still has it connected. Comes to her feet, changes to almost that body lock we were talking about, where it is legal to connect your hands, known as a bear hug.
Next up on
her opponent's name is Georgia LeBlanc from Mountain Crest.
From Mountain Crest versus Abby Hunt of Skyview.
Nice double leg shot, blast double. Head was right in the right position. She got stopped midway as her opponent takes a near side ankle and a head. Almost gets the takedown, but they chase each other right out of bounds. Back to the center we go. It was a great shot by Alexis, but a great counter by Miss LeBlanc. Alexis knows now she's got to set that up and probably hit it a little faster, a little more speed. Okay, Alexis still in to gain a takedown here. Mountain Crest does have a head and an arm. She aborts that, comes back to neutral. She's going to go ahead and attempt to throw a cowboy. If her hips are under, she's going to get it, and she indeed does. There's 2-point takedown. She's got Mountain Crest in a predicament on her back, getting the swipes, and she gives it up. Just so you know, Alexis had a bet that she could get X amount of points in the first round, so you probably will see her get a pinning position and give that up. I'm not sure if that's good against this opponent or not, but she changes off to a near armbar or a chicken wing, takes her wrist. Notice she's taking, she changes off to a far side half in a near side chicken wing. She's deciding which way to run that. Mountain Crest doing a great job of stretching that arm straight to prevent Alexis from getting in very deep with that armbar. Alexis is ahead of the armpits. We talk about staying behind the armpits. It's not going to cost her anything as we go into the second round. Green says, let's try this again. I want to go on my feet.
2 points, takedown, Mountain Crest. And winner by fall is Hadley Flynn of Mountain Crest.
Alexis is staying heavy on that head, probably attempting either a snap down, moves momentarily to a Russian tie. She's going to go ahead and hit that cowboy. It doesn't work this time. The opponent takes her down for a 2-point. Score should be 5-2 now, and still in favor of Alexis. Alexis tags down on the mat. Very smart move. What that did is gained her a 1-point advantage for locking hands, and she can still further her position to get a takedown as well. If she pulls her head out, she will not only get the takedown, which she does, but she also gets the 1-point penalty for locking hands. She's getting near fall points now, so very smart wrestling. She reaches in for the half, shoulder deep. Fantastic wrestling, just doing a great job of doing some chain wrestling. So another 3 points for near fall. Alexis Angel now has the chicken wing sunk in fairly deep. Bottom leg, and she steps, and we're getting points, swipes again.
2 points, takedown.
There's at least 3 more points coming. And there's the fall. Alexis Angel, excellent job as we move the JV score 12-0 in favor of Star Valley.
Next up on the JV mat at 130 pounds will be Kenna Merritt from Mount Crest versus Eliza England from Star Valley.
Now, I think they might have mixed that up a little bit if you heard that announcement. They said Kenna Merritt was from Mountain Crest, unless there's another Kenna Merritt running around. So we'll see what happens there, but I'm pretty sure this is Eliza England. Takes the center of the mat.
Winner by fall is Jay Weeks of Mountain Crest.
This is a 130-pound weight class, Eliza England. Eliza takes a great takedown, and she gets it. 2-0 takedown. Lots of Star Valley ladies giving her cheers. It's a great takedown. She gets her hips underneath her a little bit as Mountain Crest takes advantage of that. Steps over and gains a 2-point reversal on her own. So the score is not 2-2.
Now, Brindley King from
Eliza in a little bit of a predicament here.
Wilhelm of
It's
Skyview.
early enough. She has lots of energy if she can kick and fight and bridge. Her opponent doing a good job of really driving heavy. Looking down, she's trying to sink that half in a little deeper. If Eliza can twist this side and let go of the head probably at that point, she's going to be saved. Great fight. Got off her back, but Mountain Crest does sink it in from the other side, proving that she's probably an experienced wrestler.
Brindley King of Mountain Crest versus MJ Gonzalez.
That does look
of Skyview.
a little scary. If we can run the clock out, we might get, and Eliza, after taking that early lead with a takedown, does give that one up by fall. Scores now 12-6. Varsity is ahead, junior varsity leads 12-6.
Next up on the JV mat, we have Rudd of Mountain Crest versus Anna Hatterley of Star Valley.
All right, Anna Hatterley, she's up next from Star Valley. This moves us to the 135-pound weight class. She'll be going against Bailey Rudd or Rude of Mountain Crest. Great arm drag, almost a climb behind. She changes off to a near cowboy. Mountain Crest takes advantage through a slip and does get the first takedown. Anna does a great job controlling the hands. That's a tough position there. Let's see if she can grab that. We call it the elephant trunk. She can reach up, take that elbow, pull it down, and maybe take the pressure off that crossface. Got her great coaches on the sideline giving her some advice. This cradle seems to be pretty well locked up. It'll be a tough fight If she can really hit that hard, kick her leg, she might be able to free herself. Oh, she was fighting fingers. Great. But unfortunately, falls to Mountain Crest. Score is now tied 12-12.
Off JV mat at 145 pounds will be Kalia King from Mount Crest versus Settling Roberts from Star Valley.
Okay, if you didn't hear that, Settley Roberts takes a 145-pound position against Kaylee King of Mountain Crest. Settley Roberts checks into the table. Now, what we were saying earlier is Utah has a little bit of an advantage on not only the sport of wrestling itself, they've had women's wrestling sanctioned for quite some time, whereas Star Valley, this is only our second year, last year being the inaugural year. Most of these wrestlers, except one, have started brand new last year from Star Valley. We do have a wrestler that did compete with the boys a little bit, has some extra training there. We'll tell you all about that when we get a little closer. So again, this is Settley Roberts, Star Valley, 145 pounds. Now as you watch, they try to circle towards that center bullseye. If one wrestler steps backwards too much, they can potentially lose a point eventually after a couple of stall calls. Settley does a fantastic job, takes the first takedown, reaching for that cross face, staying behind in good position. She moves to the side because she does have the cross face now. She's going to a near ankle dump, and she gets it almost over, but she does have both arms now. She runs the barbed wire or the screwdriver, and she received at least 2 swipes. Boy, that's going to be tight. If she can wrap up both legs or both arms like she had moments ago, I have a feeling she says, let's wrestle some more. I'm going to get a tighter pinning combination on anyway. So she runs back to the rear, back to fighting hands. She now leads 5-0. Mountain Crest feels threatened and is trying to hide. We call that mousetrap, just ready to catch anything. Broke down to her base. She pops that elbow good and hard, takes that far cross base again, and turns it into a barbed wire once again, right to her back, and this time it looks tight. This will be a miracle if Mountain Crest kicks out of this one. We'll see how much time is on the clock, but she indeed does have at least 3 more points coming to take the lead 8-0 against her opponent. We have short time, and we take that one by fall. Settley Roberts.
Next up on the JV mat,
18-12, Star Valley leads.
Mountain Crest versus Paisley Neal from Star Valley.
Paisley Neal, Star Valley versus Ginny. Did they say Ginny or Guinea? McElprang. I think I'll just stick with announcing Paisley Neal's name. We'll call sorry for the interruption there. We're back on live. Paisley Neal, Star Valley, takes on Miss McElprang. I apologize, Cache Valley, if I'm butchering that last name. It could be Makel Prang or Makel Pringle. Paisley hits in, started as a fireman, turns into a high C. Great shot. Blast double coming, almost the double leg. Oh! And she sacrifices that one, gives that up to give Mountain Crest a 2-point advantage, 2-0. She's got to be careful she doesn't get sucked back. Looks like Mountain Crest has had some experience doing that. Now again, Mountain Crest is locked up. As soon as her hand hit, that was a penalty point, but the ref didn't catch it. He was on the wrong side of things.
That concludes our varsity matches on the dartwood mat. We will now go into our JV and extra matches.
Paisley doing her best to stay up off her belly. She does come back to her base. Great job for Miss Neal. Fighting hands now. If she can gain one of those hands, she'll bring a leg up and explode out. It's hard to see, but she does a roll almost like the Granby almost successful with it, comes back to the base position. Her opponent, notice, keeps all of her pressure off her knees, and that's a lot of weight. That's a lot of pressure that Paisley's having to carry there. And again, that comes with experienced wrestlers. They know when to put their knee on the mat and when to lift it and be really heavy. The good thing for Paisley here is Mountain Crest is a little high. She takes advantage of it, pulls her over the top, right to her back. I believe she may have got it one swipe, but probably not enough predicament to get near fall points. It's all tied up 2-2 as Paisley does a fantastic job getting that reversal. Breaks her down to her belly. As the towel man comes out, indicating we have short time, she sinks a half in, and she's going to run it. We may have enough time to get some swipes. Oh, and we run out of time. Once again, Paisley nil, tied up 2-2 against Miss Jenny McElprong. All right, neutral we go. Paisley gets her legs back behind. Great sprawl as her opponent shoots. She now is in position to score. If she can break that hand free and spin behind, that's considered a takedown. And we're going to get it right about. Not yet. The ref says we've got to get behind a little more. And there it is, 2 points. She does lock her hands. That's going to cost 1 point. We're still ahead. Should be a score of 4-3. Paisley leads 4-3. Those penalty points are so hard to stay away from, especially when you're just getting into the sport. It almost seems natural just to lock your hands. But unfortunately, unless it's a pinning combination, you cannot do that. Ref says she did it again. We're at an angle where we didn't see how quick that happened, but looks like we're going to lose another point here for locking hands. Once again, they will let the other wrestler continue because they can score a reversal or a takedown or a stand-up, an escape. So they won't even stop the action if the other wrestler can advance. And indeed she does. Mountain Crest gains a 2-point reversal, also gains a penalty point. That, if I'm not mistaken, will move her up 6-4. Little headbutting there. The ref may warn that. It's an unnecessary roughness in the sport of wrestling. I think especially with girls, if someone starts throwing fists and butting heads, the ref will usually say, calm it down or I'm going to call you. Second time, they're not so nice. If it's blatant force, they will stop it the very first time and give the other wrestler a point. Now see how she's reaching one hand in. She reached two in at the same time. I would have called that a full Nelson. You don't have to have either hand in very far. As long as they touch any part of the bottom person's head, that's a full Nelson. Half Nelson is one hand under the arm and over the top of the head, totally legal. Full Nelson is if you put both hands, even for a split second, under the arm and back to the head, they'll stop it. That hasn't been legal for at least half a century. All right, Mountain Crest takes down as we are trailing 2 points, 6-4. Paisley Neal takes top. She's got to be careful we don't get another penalty point. Mountain Crest does a good job coming to her feet. Paisley does a fantastic job going to the leg. Unable to maintain that leg. We have a takedown for Mountain Crest. Score's now 8-4. Paisley takes a leg, almost has it, and turns and faces her opponent, was unable to keep the leg. Now again, Mountain Crest seems relatively high. If Paisley can do the same thing she did in the first round, pull her over the front for a 2-point reversal onto her back for 2 count at least, she will tie it 8-4. We just need to go ahead and hit that move again. She did such a fantastic job at it in the first round. When you're broke down, it becomes a little more difficult, and she is broke down. She's got to come back up to her base, get Mountain Crest high again, throw her over the top. For those watching that may not understand near fall points or predicament points, as you saw, when Paisley put her opponent on her back, the ref began to count. We call those swipes. One swipe doesn't count for anything. Two gives a 2-point award to the wrestler putting the pinning move on. Once they count to 5, you have 3 points. So near fall is 2, 4, 5. So right now the ref is indeed swiping. Unfortunately, it's against the wrong wrestler. And we give that one up by fall. Paisley, great fight, led most of the match. Maybe a little bit of conditioning there had something to do with it. She did seem to be getting a little tired, but great fight. Nothing to be ashamed of there. Great match.
Next up is Brooklyn Pulsifer from Mountain Crest versus Brianna Bensky of Star Valley. Okay, so with our corrections, we are going to go on the dark blue mat, Kimber versus Addison Misner.
Addie Misner, she's our next JV wrestler from Star Valley. Addie coming to check into the table now. At least on my paperwork, her opponent is Nora Pickup. Pickup, spelt just like it sounds. And I just had word, I believe Nora Pickup is Ron Tolman's granddaughter. If you remember Ron Tolman, former superintendent, Star Valley native, right there in Grover. He now lives just a few blocks from the high school here at Mountain Crest. And this is Ron Tolman's granddaughter, Nora Pickup. So we'll see Nora and Addie. Now, it looks like there might have been a little confusion. We're going to change the lineup, so don't believe anything I just said. All right, be patient with us. We're going to move to the other mat with a Star Valley wrestler here. So we're going to zoom out and catch both mats at the same time. We're having Star Valley athletes on both mats. We'll do our best to keep straight who's who. Okay, so Nora Pickup will be coming up later, it appears. If I'm not mistaken, we have Addie Miser to your right, or excuse me, to your left.
Next up on the dark blue mat will be Hallie Monk versus Jocelyn Burgess.
Addie striving to stay off her belly. Her opponent has a pretty tight barbed wire on, but Addie doing a fantastic job. If indeed that is Addie, we're waiting to hear verification. I believe that is Addie. She's doing a great job not getting rolled. Mountain Crest does have both arms locked up. That's a lot of pressure, a lot of pain. One good thing about wrestling, I mean, I tell you, if you have someone smothering you, you can hardly breathe. Your spine's getting twisted. Boy, and great job. Rolls all the way through. Does give up a couple points takedown, but so much better in the fall. She's able to reposition herself. All right, we come back to center. Still waiting on word who's on the right side. She's in a little bit of a spot, and we do give that one up by fall. Doggone it. Back on the left, Addie. Is it bottom position as her opponent adjusts her headgear. Folks, I apologize. Once we start doubling up the athletes, I'm unable to keep I'm just far enough away that unless they're facing me and grinning just right, I can't tell who's who. So we kind of rely on our manager and messages from the coaches to be able to say, hey, this is so-and-so, and this is how it's changed the lineup. So I received word that was Brianna from Star Valley that was wrestling on the last mat. Jocelyn Burgess now from Star Valley, your orange and blue mat. Kaya Allred, this is Kaya? And Kaya Allred is on the left. Mistake. My wife, great help most of the time, but I think she said that was Kaya Allred. Kaya is still walking around, not wrestling. So indeed, that is Kaya walking in front of the camera, but she's not on the mat. Addie's in that same predicament, hoping she can fight out of that. Oh, Addie gives that one up by fall. Great fight. She was able to twist out of that several times before finally succumbing to fall by Mountain Crest.
Winner by fall on the dark blue mat is Kimber Anderson.
We've watched Addie a little bit this year, and I'll tell you what, she has really improved. She's doing a fantastic job implementing what the coaches are teaching her. Last year, there was quite a dry spell for wins. She's already picked up several wins this year. She's doing a fantastic job. So a little more time, a little more experience. We'll see some great things from Addie. We'll zoom in here on Jocelyn Burgess, who has a great far side cradle. Does run out of real estate momentarily. She's got to readjust, either pull her back on or go to another move. Looks like she's going to go to the barbed wire. We lead this one 2-0. Jocelyn with the first takedown, 2-0 against Mountain Crest. Now, if you see the opponents are just enough in, the ref is going to let them wrestle. Once both of their limbs step out, and we're going to hit there right about now, he'll call that and say, okay, that's far enough out of bounds. But she has a great half Nilsson on. Now, the bottom opponent did stay on, so the ref says, let's wrestle. Excellent job. She pushes her over to her back. She's trying to resync the half in to get it a little tighter, changes it off to a reverse half, chin in the right spot. And she takes that far arm, pulls it up tight. We just flat run out of time, but great job. She gets a two. Boy, only a 2. I was going to say that was a 3-point predicament, but the ref says she didn't break the angle enough, so we're going to go 2. She leads now 4-0. Mountain Crest takes down as Jocelyn takes top position. Second round, leads 4-0. Folks, just so you know, if they don't cover the navel with one arm and the elbow with the other, the ref will say caution. If that happens again, you stand a chance of losing a penalty point. So they just try to prevent any unfair advantage on the start. Jocelyn has a heck of a tight waist, sinks it in deep, takes a cross wrist. That's one hand under the belly. The other hand pulls the arm to her, changes it right off for some great chain wrestling. Working for the cross face, and she's trying to almost looks like cradle that up. She changes off to the near leg dump, readjusts, back, changes side. She's great cross face again, pulls that elbow up nice and tight. If you'll notice, Mountain Crest posts her leg out because she knows what's coming. She's seen enough of those barbed wires to know that Star Valley's effective at them. But Jocelyn said, I'm going to run it anyway. She has both arms underneath. She spins around the clock, and we are getting swipes. Oh, one swipe. We need at least 2, as we talked about earlier. So she'll readjust, see if she can sink that in. Pops the elbow good and tight. Now she's decided now if she should do a near leg dump, but if you notice, Mountain Crest threaded her leg and kind of keeps her from jumping out to the side to run that. Mountain Crest also doing a great job of gaining hand control. And folks, you cannot grab just one or two fingers. You've got to have at least the three, or the whole hand is ideal. But unless you have three fingers, they will take a penalty point away. Jocelyn do a fantastic job breaking her opponent down flat, putting all kinds of head pressure on there. Power half. She's going for the power half. She sinks an arm in, and she's got it. She steps aside, rotates her chest down to get the leverage, and over the falls, and we're getting counts right there. 2 points for a near fall as Jocelyn takes the lead 6-0. Again, second round, 6-0 lead. Jocelyn Burgess in total control of this match. And we end the second round. Sorry, who's over here on this side? Kara Andrews representing Star Valley on the darker blue mat. And I believe that she is also in control with a 2-0 lead over her opponent. And she is working aggressively. See how she bounced one side or the other? Bottom wrestler doing a good job of just holding tight. She doesn't want to give anything as we run out of time with Kara Andrews. She leads 2-0. Kara's choice.
2-0 for Star Valley. Star Valley chooses down.
All right, Kara chooses down position. Jocelyn Burgess on the blue mat, still in total control as they are in the neutral position. Third round. She leads 6-0. Kara Andrews leads 2-0. So both Star Valley with an advantage over their opponents. That's what we'd like to see. Kara Andrews, great sit, turns it right to a stand-up. Her opponent locks her hands. If she just puts one hand down, she'll gain a point. She goes for the Granby roll, and she catches it fair and square, gets a 2-point reversal. I believe she also got 2 swipes. And right to her back again as she aggressively takes complete domination over this match. Mountain Crest looks up and says, "What just hit me?" Back on Jocelyn's mat, it appears she gained a takedown, although they haven't flagged the points yet. But she also has near fall points, and I think this is going to be it for Jocelyn. Has her opponent fairly tight. Kara Andrews working out to the side a little bit. Takes a crossface, immediate quick action there. Jocelyn takes hers by fall. Great job, Jocelyn. A complete dominating match as she would have led at least 11-0, and takes her match by fall. So a major decision if she wouldn't have, but she indeed catches the fall. Kara Andrews has that also, the screwdriver or the barbed wire on. Mountain Crest stretches that leg and says, "I don't want to go that way." Now Kara's deciding, do I want to change off to a far side cradle? And she says, nah, I'm going to still work this. Spins around the clock, takes her to her back, at least gets one swipe. Mountain Crest, fantastic job of bellying out. Score still 4-0 in favor of Kara, Star Valley. One thing about Kara is she's very quick. If you notice her feet, she moves not just her arms, but her legs will be moving. She gets off her. Oh, she pulls her back around. She's getting swipes right there, folks. Great, kind of an unorthodox tilt towards her, but she was able to get some swipes. And I believe she received, was it 2 near fall or 3 there? I didn't catch it. Looks like 3. We take the lead 7-0. Fantastic job, Kara. Took advantage of that. Pulled her right towards her to gain 3 more points with short time left. Addie Miser? Well, I think we thought Addie was on before. If she's on again, she's getting lots of mat time. Addie Miser on the right. As they go out of bounds, come back to the center. Again, Addie from Star Valley on the right.
Next on the dark blue mat,
Kara Andrews still with that 7-0 lead. Giving her opponent all she can handle. Addie Miser sprawling hard, taking an ankle. She needs to break that lock if she can. She does a great job. She does break the lock. She's in position now to have a great far side cradle if she can connect him. And she almost connects. Instead, she spins behind almost with the takedown. Kara has her opponent on her back and gets the fall. Great job, Kara Andrews. A dominating 10-point lead and finishes it off with a pin. Great job. We'll move our full attention over here to Addie's match.
On the dark blue mat, Aubrey Van Huss versus Cashley Hepworth.
Sounds like can't do that long. We're going to have Cashley stepping on. So Cashley Hepworth on the dark blue mat. Addie Miser still going on the left, or excuse me, the right, or the lighter blue mat. As we move into the second period, Addie trails 2-0. Mountain Crest chooses neutral. Another good shot in as Addie needs to take some time to sprawl. That one doesn't work out. We give up another 2-point takedown. Heads high, fantastic job. You don't want that half to be sneaking in. Mountain Crest did a great job putting lots of pressure, gets her broke down. Addie's not quite fully broke down. If she can work back up to her base, she'll have a lot better chance.
Alexis Angel versus Camry Kerr.
Cassie Hepworth, takedown, 2 points to lead.
Start out.
Again, Cassie Hepworth on the dark blue mat on the right. Excuse me. I think, is it a mirror image? Oh, and she gets the fall. Excellent job. That one didn't last long. I don't know how many seconds. They erased it off the clock, but it wasn't very much mat time for Miss Hepworth. That's that farm tough coming in. Great job.
Alexis Angel versus Camry Kerr.
Addie in a tough position. She's fighting hard. If she can thread that arm through, we call it threading the needle. Her opponent has been at it a lot. You can tell she has a lot of experience on the mat, and she does take that one by fall. All right, folks, on the dark blue mat, we have Alexis Angel, also against Mountain Crest. This will be Alexis's second time also out of the gate tonight. Mountain Crest does a great shot. Alexis does a better shot of countering. Almost has the front headlock series on. Mountain Crest does a good job at saying, I don't like that. Alexis now with a Russian tie. That's 2 hands on 1. And she's got to sprawl hard here because Mountain Crest is in very, very deep, and she bellies out. Probably smart decision and loses the takedown, but gains a 1-point escape. Score 2-1 in favor of Mountain Crest. Alexis is a little far to be throwing that, but she wants it. She's trying some new stuff. Down to the mat she goes, and she does get the 2-point takedown. Gets 1 swipe, working towards 2. And she can drop her chest a little bit more and put pressure, and it looks like we're over the falls. The ref starts counting. Excellent. We got a fall for Alexis Angel. Great fight for Mountain Crest. All right, folks, and I've lost the tally for the dual points as we started wrestling double mats, but I can tell you Star Valley is indeed ahead. If the scoreboard on the wall is correct, we lead 30-18. Now we're destroying 1 mat. That tells me we are working at Varsity, and I'll tell you what, talk about timeliness. We're 7 o'clock straight up. That was the agenda, so it appears we're going to wrap up 1 mat, probably pull one of them to the center, and just wrestle the duel against Mountain Crest on 1 mat. So obviously that's going to be the focal point of the evening. Even though there was 2 Utah schools. I think they're going to wrap up the mats for the number ones. Number one Star Valley, number one Mountain Crest. So be patient with us as we put the mute button on for a few minutes. Well, I guess we can talk a little bit about the lineup. So this year's unique in that we have several sisters on the team, and it's always neat to see sisters that share the same pain and glory together, and sometimes we're watching a little bit of weight. But here's the lineup. At 100 pounds for Star Valley is Sage Smith. Sage Smith, one of the siblings. Her sister will be wrestling 115 pounds, and that would be Paisley. So again, Paisley and Sage, two of her sisters. 105 pounds will be taken by Carly Angel. Carly is also a sister to Alexis. Alexis Angel is fighting at the 120-pound weight class. So Carly and Alexis. Moving to 110, we have Kenna Merritt. This is the varsity lineup we're going through now. Kenna Merritt, 110. 115, as mentioned, Paisley Smith. 120, Keston Johnson. At 125, Malia Allred will take that position. Another one of our sister sibling duos. She is sister with Kaya Allred that we talked about earlier. Now, I didn't see Kaya go out on the mat. I'm not sure if her opponent bailed out. Did Kaya wrestle? Oh, I've got some discouraging news there. Kaya's opponent stepped out, wrestled the wrong girl. So Kaya was indeed ready, but I believe her Mountain Crest opponent says, I've had enough of Star Valley and I don't want to do it again. So that's always tough when you come clear down and don't get a match, but maybe they'll have an exhibition later. So 125, Malia Allred. 130, Lindsay Lawson. At 135 pounds, Remington Allman will take that position. Moving up to another one of our sisters, Oakley Hepworth at 140. Oakley is sisters to Cashley Hepworth, who you just saw get a really quick pin at 235. So Oakley Hepworth, 140. Moving to 145, none other than returning state champion and 2-year undefeated Vel Foreman, also daughter to our head coach, Kendall Foreman. 145, once again, will be represented by Vel Foreman. Moving to the 155-pound weight class will be represented by Brooke Schwab. We'll talk more about Brooke as we get there, but talk about a lot of advancement between the off-season and the regular wrestling season. Brooke has just made tremendous strides. She'll be representing Star Valley at 155. Moving up to 170 pounds, and you'll notice we start moving quite a few pounds here. So essentially you can have, oh, we got a wrestler on here. We'll come back to that lineup. We've got a wrestler on. Is that Brooke? Brooke Schwab, 155 pounds against her Mountain Crest opponent. And she is definitely showing the aggression. Immediate takedown. Excuse me, this is Skyview that she's wrestling. Takes her right to her back in an excellent position to get a quick fall. Brooke Schwab looking at the ref saying, what else can I do? Skyview doing a good job twisting her hips. That's one thing about the girl wrestlers. They can twist about into a 2. Even with her hips twisted, her shoulders were enough on the mat. She gives that up by fall as Brooke Schwab does an excellent job securing a pin. All right, folks, I spoke too soon. Kaya Allred does indeed have a match. She is up. And I wondered if they wouldn't round up some matches where that was a mistake on her opponent's part. So Brooke Schwab takes a fall over Skyview. And we're moving now to Kaya Allred, who I assume will also be wrestling. No, that's a Mountain Crest opponent.
Up next on the likely mat will be Braylon Vickers versus Skylee Coons.
All right, Kaya Allred takes center position. We're going to zoom in a little bit because we only have one mat on. Good control. She's hopping around, gaining that inside tie, decides to break that. And notice how her arms are back. We call that gunfighting. She doesn't want to feed her arms to her opponent, but when she's ready to tie up, she moves in real quick. And she's hunting the head right now. Kaya Allred, she almost moves to an arm drag. Mountain Crest, fantastic shot. Kaya, great, trying to stretch that arm out, keep her from giving up the takedown. The ref says no award yet. As long as she keeps that arm, she can turn and face her and gain a takedown of her own. Mountain Crest doing a good job of spinning around the clock. No points. Now, if she can thread what we call a front quarter power half, she can actually stretch Mountain Crest out. We're going to go stalemate, folks, back to the center. No points awarded, either wrestler. And I think that was a good call. It was a tough position to get out of for Kaya, but she was doing a great job. All right, elbows in. She's gunfighting a little. She takes control. Near wrist, breaks that off. The opponent takes the near side tie, but Kaya does have the inside tie, and that's to her advantage. She loses the one arm, but she still has the head tied up pretty solid. Now she's got to know that Mountain Crest is going to shoot. She proved that. She likes to pop the tie and go underneath. So right there, Kaya says, I'm ready for you. Stretches that leg out good. Takes a cow catcher approach. Unable to keep the cow catcher. Moves to the ankle and does give up the takedown. Mountain Crest leads 2-0. Mountain Crest sinks in a half real quick. Kaya's got to be careful that she doesn't go down to her base. You can sling that half even from the base position, but I don't think Mountain Crest is going to do that. She aborts the half, goes to a cross base. Now, I'm not sure. Did we run out of time there? Looks like we did. Kaya's choice. Kaya says, I'll try top position. Again, this is second round. Kaya down 2-0. Let's see what she can do on top. Moves right into the power half. Does indeed get the half in, at least to the neck. Mountain Crest braces her leg and says, I don't want to go that way. Kaya switches sides. Has a half from the opposite side. Great talent to be able to wrestle from both sides. Kaya is another one of those wrestlers just showing strides of improvement. Just started this year, just weeks ago, and she already knows the half from both sides. She knows the cradle, obviously, because she's getting it on right now. Kaya Allred has her broke down to her belly. Great position. Sinks the half. If she runs to the side and starts stepping, she indeed can get back points, and she does. Ref's counting, and this looks fairly deep, folks. This will be hard to get out of. Her opponent's kicking, and we get the win by fall. Congratulations, Kaya Allred. What a win. Down by 2. Takes top position. Secures her win by fall.
170-pound Braylon Vickers versus Skyly Coots.
All right, folks. We are not moving to varsity yet. I made that announcement earlier about 7 o'clock. It looked like we wrapped up one mat, which we did do. But Skyview has a number of wrestlers that wanted to get some more mat time in. So Star Valley says we can handle that. So we're waiting for the announcement to see who's up next here. Looks like Shaylee Coots from Star Valley will be wrestling Skyview. So these, in a sense, I believe these actually are Skyview's varsity wrestlers. All right, Shaylee Coots takes the center of the mat against her Skyview opponent. Shaylee Coots fills the 170-pound weight class. Excellent. Right to a low single, right to the dirt. Skyview does a good job pounding on the head, but Shaylee says, I think I can get this still, and she indeed does for a 2-point takedown. All right. I apologize. We lost feed here. Doing some technology adjustments here. All right. We did. I think Shaylee, we were on the air when Shaylee gained her takedown. If not, that was picture perfect, textbook perfect takedown. She leads 2-0. Had a great half sunk in. Changes that off to a near side chop to break her down. Takes a chop again. Down to the belly. Skyview goes. Shaylee, just a phenomenal, aggressive wrestler. And stays on her like a hawk on a mouse. She's not giving this girl any room to even breathe. Near side armbar, blocks the elbow and says, I can run it, even blocking. And she starts getting swipes right now. But folks, this is also called the armbar. She changes to a half Nelson. She's waiting for the ref to give her the points, looking at the ref saying, hey, this is a new move. Would you award me? And the ref finally does. Now she goes back to work. Sinks the half in. And ref gives all the swipes. She will lead 9-0 after these predicament points. She lets her belly out and looks at the ref, says, do I have it? She does. 7-0 now. Back over she goes for the barbed wire. Gets the swipes. Now notice Shaylee is wrestling mat time. She could pin her opponent any time right now. What seemed to be a well-even match on their feet has turned into a complete domination by Shaylee. As we end the round, she gains 3 more points to take a commanding lead of 10-0. Now, sometimes people say, well, that looks kind of arrogant to just keep wrestling. And actually, we want lots of wrestling mat time. And her opponent is no slouch. She's not doing anything disgraceful. She's not being cocky at all. She's just saying, hey, you prove that you're a good wrestler. I want to prove that I can score some points. I want to take advantage of this 3-hour bus ride here. She takes her down ahead and an arm cow catcher. We call that the colot in our house, right to her back. She watches the ref, gets all of her swipes in, and we're going to go for fall here because it would have been a tech fall if she let her up. So, folks, the points would have been 16-0, and which would give Star Valley a 5-point team point. But she went ahead and held her to her back that last time to gain the entire 6 points. So, in a sense, that was as far ahead as you can get of an opponent to get a tech fall, but pin them before the final points are awarded. So she got a pinfall. Fantastic job, Shaylee Coots.
And Vale Foreman of Star Valley.
All right, this is Varsity.
On the light blue mat.
So we are wrestling Skyview Varsity against Star Valley Varsity. Vale Foreman, returning state champion, undefeated 2 years, representing Star Valley at the 145 weight class. Takes front headlock, looking for that near side leg to either dump. She spins behind for the 2-point advantage, 2-0, Vale Foreman.
2 points, kick down Star Valley.
Cross face, pulls the elbow up tight. Notice she has a leg locked up. She'll abort that leg and work out to the side now, which she does to gain near fall points. The ref says not quite enough time on her back to get the points. Vale changing off now to an arm bar. Has the wrist on the far side, perfect position. This would be almost entirely miraculous to keep off your back. She takes it nice and slow. Over the fall she goes. Mountain Crest, great bridger. But Vale's been here many times before. Let's see if Vale lets her go or says, let's just get this done with. So the score now would be unofficially 5-0 when the ref calls these 3-point predicament points. But he won't do it until we break the pinning combination, meaning we come back to our base and we transition either to another move or the bottom opponent gets out. Again, Vale leads 5-0. She's going for the fall, and she indeed picks it up. Excellent job, Vale Foreman. First round pin. Star Valley in complete control over Skyview.
Hannah Belknap from Skyview. And Hannah Hallie Robinson from Star Valley.
Up next, Hallie Robertson, Star Valley. And she'll wrestle her Skyview opponent, who looks pretty psyched out. Hallie Robertson, one of those wrestlers, just proven to be an established, experienced wrestler. She was one that also was able to start a little earlier, practice with the guys a little bit, gain some invaluable experience to come in here on a full women's team now, and just one of the leaders as far as experience and phenomenal wrestler. We saw Hallie wrestle one time previously to this match, and she picked up a pinfall on her first go against Mountain Crest. Let's see how this one turns out. I'm betting, if I'm a betting person, that we're going to get a pin here against Skyview as well. Of course, I should bet that way every time, right, Shaylee? I'll make it more specific. I'm going to say first round pin. All right, we'll see how that prophecy works out. Right now, she's in a little bit of a tough predicament as Skyview has a front headlock position, circling towards the leg, but Hallie breaks that, comes up to her feet and says, I think I can fight that off, and she indeed does. Back to the center they go. We have about 40 seconds left of the first round. Neither opponent has advanced points. Hallie takes a shot. Skyview does a great job catching her arm. Hallie takes another shot, in a little bit deeper, but once again, Skyview able to fend that off. If she can clear that arm, there it is. She's in fairly deep, comes back. We have 20 seconds left. One more time's a charm, Hallie. Let's hit it one more time. Takes a shot for about the seventh one. This one's gonna work. We got 9 seconds left. Can she? Oh! She can pull her head out. We'll still get the takedown, and it's going to be close. We run out of time barely. Oh, back to her feet. And I believe that's round. Coach Ivy does a good job jumping up and said, hey, guys, time's over. First round ends 0-0. Neither wrestler able to advance in points. Skyview defers. Hallie Robertson takes choice. Remember, she has top, bottom, or neutral. Those are the three choices she can take. Incidentally, Hallie says, let's try top wrestling. That puts Skyview on the bottom. Hallie switches, goes to a far ankle to break down for pressure. Skyview does indeed get to her feet to take a 1-point advantage. The score is now 1-0. I've proven not to be a very good prophet, as I predicted Hallie would pin her in the first round. I'm still going to say she's going to pin her. Even though both wrestlers seem to be very well matched, and Hallie is down 1-0, I'm still going to go for it. We're going for pin. All right, we're going to see if we can find the team score against Skyview. I know we are definitely ahead. I don't think Skyview has gained any points. Maybe one match. We'll find out here. We're going to find out what the team score is. Once again, we were hit with this duel as a second. It was not on the agenda, at least on our schedule. We were under the impression Skyview would wrestle Mountain Crest, Star Valley would wrestle Mountain Crest, who's hosting the duels. But I'm glad to see that we are getting two duels in this evening. Once again, this is Hallie Robertson. We trail 1-0, second period. We have 15 seconds left. Hallie's taken a lot of shots. Skyview is wrestling more defensively, hasn't taken many shots at all, and trying to capitalize on any mistake that Hallie is willing to give up. The thing is, Hallie does not give a lot of mistakes up. And we end the second period scoreless. Well, scoreless for that round. First round, we only had a 1 point, or excuse me, it was 1 point second round. So first round was scoreless. All right. Skyview takes bottom. Hallie back on the top position. Trailing 1-0. Skyview does a fantastic job getting to her feet, does indeed secure the escape for a 2-0 lead. Hallie back where she's been many times. Skyview still a little reluctant to take any shots. Hallie slowing down her shots a little bit as well. Perhaps waiting for Skyview to change her style so that she can capitalize on that. Both wrestlers fairly heavy on the head. Skyview ducks out of the tie every time Hallie gets it on. If you watch right now, Skyview does a kind of a twist and a duck right there. Almost took advantage of it to set up a shot of her own, but very reluctant to shoot on Hallie. If Hallie can football toss that head to one side, she'll prevent that. Okay, there's a stalling. We now have a, oh, and she slips it out and gets a takedown. Hallie, 2-point takedown in the third period. We're now tied up, guys. Excuse me, that was a second stall call against Skyview. Hallie leads 3-2, only momentarily though, as Skyview gets an escape of her own. It is now 3-3. Hallie right back in for another takedown. This should move us to 5-3 in favor of Star Valley. Hallie Robertson sinks a deep half in immediately, and here's that pin we're talking about, folks. She's got it in tight. Let's see if she steps out to the side and runs that. Oh! What'd you go and do that for, ref? Well, folks, we couldn't see the other side, but apparently Hallie made a mistake of probably just lightly tagging under the other arm, which would constitute a full Nelson. We give up a point there, so we're still in position to win the match with a 5-4 lead. 25 seconds left in the third period. But boy, that ref stopped at a bad time. We had the half sunk in tight on this side, but again, we couldn't see what was going on the other side. Skyview tries to do kind of a scissor kick roll out in desperation. Hallie holding on to the top, barring up one side. If she can dig in a little deeper, and it looks like she's almost got it, folks. If she does, she'll fulfill that prophecy of the pin. Drops back to the leg. 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's a match, folks. What an excellent wrestling match. Well-matched wrestlers as Hallie Robertson takes this one 5-4. Oh, was that just the second round? Well, guys, we're going to get some more wrestling. If it's a time to be wrong, I guess that's a good time. We like that. Oh, no, excuse me. So what happened is they stopped it with 2 seconds left, and we had to finish that out to make it official. So once again, Hallie Robertson takes the match 5-4. Excellent job, Hallie. I had a little bird whisper in my ear that there was one more round, but I was highly suspicious that bird was drinking. All right, that concludes our duel with Skyview. Star Valley takes that one. I don't have a final tally on the score. They didn't post that, but we'll wait. In the event they provide that, we'll give it to everybody. Okay, folks, moving the mat back to the center. This is the main event as Star Valley prepares to go against number 1 Utah-ranked Mountain Crest. We'll go ahead and acknowledge some of our great sponsors here. Jack's Drive-In, if you've noticed, they put in a brand new miniature golf course. That'll be up and running this spring. On hole 1, we have sponsor Bank of Star Valley. We appreciate their support and their sponsorship. Hole 2, Swift 98.7, and the Spur takes the sponsorship for hole 2. At hole 3, we have Travis J. Lander, Ameriprise Financial Advisor. So we appreciate his sponsorship. That's hole 1, 2, and 3 of the Jack's Drive-In new miniature golf course. which will be opening this spring. It's called Putz, P-U-T-Z, mini golf course. Hole 4 is being represented and sponsored by Northern Title of Star Valley. We appreciate Northern Title. They do a lot of closures for locals. Hole 5, Bridger Fitness. Bridger Fitness. Boy, we need lots of fitness places, don't we? Hole 6, Nil Wiebenhaus and Morton Buildings. They take the sponsorship of Hole 6. Again, though, that's Hole 1 through 6, Star Valley, Jack's Drive-In, and Putz Mini Golf Course. If you don't have plans to go, you better put it on the calendar. It looks like it's going to be quite the little course being set up. All right, folks, we're dimming the lights down as Star Valley once again prepares to take on Mountain Crest. Number 1 ranked Wyoming team against number 1 ranked Utah team. Earlier in our broadcast, we were talking about all the sister sibling duos. There is quite a few. It's always awesome to see sisters on the same team. And Star Valley has a number of them. We'll do our best to get names accurate. They dim the lights enough that I may need a flashlight here in order to see the roster. But where we left off before in talking about the weight classes and who's representing what weight class, 170 was Shaylee Kuntz. We just saw her wrestle against Skyview. Moving up to 190 is Stella Lind. And then 235, we also saw Cashley Hepworth take a quick pin over her opponent tonight. So we'll announce all of the weights here shortly, starting at 100 pounds. We'll let the announcer actually do that. I think we'll be able to pick it up.
The second part of our double header tonight. We are ready for our varsity match. Mountain Crest against Star Valley, Wyoming.
I guess I just lost my husband. I don't know where he went. So I'm gonna take my mom and I'm gonna carry his rent. I wanna get in trouble. I wanna start a fight. I wanna start a fight.
Starting at 100 pounds, we will have Adeline Baxter from Mountain Crest versus Sage Smith from Star Valley. At 105 pounds, we will have Paisley Anderson from Mountain Crest versus Carly Angel from Star Valley. At 110 pounds, JC Tolman from Mountain Crest and Kenna Merritt from Star Valley. At 115 pounds, Maddie Turnbow from Mountain Crest and Paisley Smith, Star Valley. At 120 pounds, from Mountain Crest, Madeline Halligan. And from Star Valley, Keston Johnson. At 125 pounds, from Mountain Crest, Danny Alexander. And from Star Valley, Malia Allred. At 130 pounds, from Mountain Crest, Aaron Smith. And from Star Valley, Lindsay Lawson. At 135 pounds, from Mountain Crest, Nikel Ferguson. And from Star Valley, Remington Ullman. At 140 pounds, from Mountain Crest, Lizzie Evans. And from Star Valley, Oakley Hepworth. At 145 pounds, from Mountain Crest, Maya Sanchez. And from Star Valley, Vale Foreman. At 155 pounds, from Mountain Crest, Hadley Glenn. And from Star Valley, Brooke Schwab. At 170 pounds, from Mountain Crest, Gracie Howard. And from Star Valley, Shaylee Coons. At 190 pounds, from Mountain Crest, Audrey DeCorver. And from Star Valley, Stella Lynn. The final match of the night will be Rachel Godfrey from Mountain Crest and Ashley Hepworth from Star Valley. Captains, please come to the center of the mat.
She walked away.
First match of the night.
Oh, a cheap pack of cigarettes. Hard liquor mixed with a bit of intellect. And all the boys that
Adeline Baxter from Mountain Crest versus Sage Smith from Star Valley.
All right, folks, we have Sage Smith starting out from Star Valley. Immediately works in, very aggressive, heavy on the hands, doing a fantastic job of showing some control. It's 100 pounds even, Sage Smith represents. And she does the arm throw, and it's going to work as she goes all the way back, puts her opponent on her back, and it's going to be a fall, folks. That's tight. Nice job, Miss Smith. Star Valley takes the lead 6-0 against a very powerful and full Mountain Crest team.
Up next, Paisley Anderson from Mountain Crest. Carly Angel from Star Valley.
Carly Angel will fill the 105-pound weight class. Incidentally, she was 5 pounds under yesterday, so sounds like she might have some choices to go for state. Carly checks into the table. Carly, another one of the new wrestlers, not only new, but a freshman. All right. Looks like they're filling each other out. Carly doing some mighty good footwork there. Staying out of the opposing wrestlers' control. Now they're both working to gunfight, work on hands a little bit. I can tell you Mountain Crest has done this a few times. See how she leads with one leg and switches from the other? A sign of a wrestler that's had some experience with her stance and footwork. Mountain Crest takes a heavy hand of her own. One thing Carly has for her, she's a pretty tough little girl as far as her grip and strength for her size. She might look a little sawed off and small, but she has quite a bit of strength for her size and especially age. And she'll probably need that to her advantage against an experienced wrestler like this. Another sign of a good wrestler, see how she transitions her weight and her hips, trying to snap Carly down. Carly doesn't give in to it. Neither opponent able to score early in actually halfway in the first period. We're down to about 45 seconds left. Nice shot from Carly. Mountain Crest does a great job defending. Both comes back neutral. Carly in on a good double leg, and she indeed gets a takedown, 2 points. Carly covers nice and hard. She has her broke down to her belly. Looks like she might be reaching for a cross wrist. Nope, changes off right to an arm bar, goes back to the wrist. Oh, she had her broke down. I would have stayed there. trying to control the leg. Mountain Crest does a fantastic job basing back up. If Carly can stay off of that, being in front of the armpits. And she does the Russian roll, gator roll, almost sinks in an arm to get some points. Mountain Crest does face her, and Carly says, well, let me try the roll here. Looks like we're going to run out of time before either wrestler can gain anything else. That's a 2-point lead for Carly Angel as we go into the second period. I think they're trying to talk if the time was indeed out. It was definitely out as far as the scoreboard goes. And it looks like they keep that original call, no reversal. Carly's choice, she defers to Mountain Crest. Mountain Crest says, let's try that again. Going neutral as Carly leads second period 2-0. Carly slowed down a little bit. We got to keep that footwork going. Carly in a little bit of tough position, but she's got the whizzer on hard as Mountain Crest seemingly has almost a takedown. Carly fends it off, comes back to her feet for neutral position, working back to the center. Neither wrestler advanced there, but I tell you, both were in position to score. One good shot, one good defense. Carly Angel. Carly takes it. Oh, it almost gets caught. She does indeed get caught. Her hand is wrapped around tight. She's in a tough position. She snakes out of it, only to give up a 2-point takedown. Score's now tied 2-2. Carly's got to grab that hand, keep that hand off. Mountain Crest does a good job. Carly fights it off. Stays strong on her base. Mountain Crest trying to sink that half in. You can see that leg out to the side. She's done this a time or two. Carly comes up to her feet, fights hands, and gets the escape for 1 point. Immediately back down for a takedown, and she is anyone's takedown here, and she gets it. 3 points reeled off in a matter of seconds. Carly Angel now leads this 5-2. And she snakes in. She gets ahead of the pits, which we've kind of worked on not doing that, but she is broke down. She has a cross wrist. Ref's warning the bottom wrestler to keep on going. As Carly works for a dump, and she's almost got it. Mountain Crest does a good job bracing the other side. Stalling against Green. As we end the second period, Carly moves to that 5-2 lead, and her choice. She looks to her coaches. Coaches, I don't know if they said top, but she says top. As many times she's taken her down, I think she could have been good on her feet. And she got out, so she could have been down fairly easy, but we'll go with what she wants. All right, we're just off for a moment as the refs, I believe they have some table help adjustments. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know why that's zooming funny like that. I lost my camera person. I guess you shouldn't call the little bird drinking or they leave. All right, maybe back to action here. Carly Angel once again leads 5-2. We're entering the third period. Carly chooses top position. Bottom wrestler gets set. Now, folks, this is where you've got to exhibit a lot of heart. This is where you're the most tired. You went 2 hard rounds. Carly's done a lot of good footwork that takes a lot of energy. She takes the chop and almost puts her opponent into her lap. If she can get the cross wrist, which she almost does, her opponent does a good job getting to her feet. Carly is doing a good job holding. Now, you only have 5 seconds here before you got to let him go or you get a stalling call. She does take the stalling call and loses the point for the escape. So both wrestlers, neutral position. If Carly can repeat what she did, take her down again. On the other hand, should Mountain Crest advance, that will tie it up 5-5. I apologize, folks. I'm trying to run the camera and the announcing, and sometimes I get a little off. I'm several feet from the camera here as I'm sitting down looking at the roster. Refs yelling something into one of their ears. Remember, they do have a call. Great drag by Carly Angel. She scoops right behind. If she can return her to the mat and break the lock, she'll gain another 2-point advantage, and she does. She breaks the lock, and she leads now 7-3. Carly Angel. Carly waiting for the wrestler to open up a little bit. Bottom wrestler seems content just to kind of stay trapped. Carly wants her to there she is. Okay, they're going to stop the match and actually take a point away from Carly. I believe she parallel ride just a little bit too long for the ref's likings. Fair call. Score is now 4-7. Carly still leads by 3 with 22 seconds left in this match. All right, Carly back in action. We're ahead 7-4. Mountain Crest does a great job blocking that opposite side. Does a fantastic twist. Carly's in a little bit of a position. Scrambles, gains control once again. Going for the near side cradle and doesn't quite get it locked up before we run out of time. Carly Angel takes the lead over Mountain Crest. A great wrestler. Good hug there. Great sportsmanship. 7-4.
Carly Angel from Star Valley. Up next from Star Valley, Kenna Merritt. And from Mountain Crest, JC Tolman.
All right, Kenna Merritt, your next wrestler from Star Valley, will face, I believe they said Tolman. Now, this may well indeed be Ron Tolman's granddaughter. We'll wait for confirmation on that. Ron Tolman, as you know, longtime Star Valley resident and educator, moved to Hiram, Utah some years ago. All right, Kenna Merritt, Star Valley. 110-pound weight class as Star Valley leads this duel 9-0 on the team points. Kenna Merritt gives up one takedown. Did a great job on the fight, just wasn't able to maintain the neutral position. And Kenna gets rolled to her back. She's got to fight out of this. We got over a minute left of this round. Kenna does give that one up. Great fight. A lot of experience there, as you can see on the Mountain Crest side. Tough wrestler, both of them, tough wrestlers. Kenna's one of those we expect some great things out of. She's very competitive, fantastic wrestler, a lot of speed.
And from Star Valley, Steve Smith.
Up next, we have from Star Valley, Paisley Smith, and from Mountain Crest, Maddie Turnbow, 115-pound weight class. Paisley Smith from Star Valley. Paisley is sister to Sage, who received the pinfall, our first match of the evening against Mountain Crest. Two sisters separated by just a handful of weight classes. Sage representing 100 pounds. And Paisley here at 115. Mountain Crest with a quick shot. Paisley does a great job sprawling, quick on her reaction time there. Gets her hips sunk down nice and low. A lot of weight on the front end of Mountain Crest as she works right into a barbed wire. She will gain the takedown here to lead 2-0 and may even move to a near fall position. Paisley controlling the near ankle, tries to do a pop snap back. Indeed does get it as the ref begins the swipes. Paisley receiving the count for near fall points, and it's looking really good. Nice broad stance. She circles back around the clock to come back tight on the arm, tees off, chest to chest, and gets the pinfall. Excellent job, Paisley. Star Valley leads number 1 ranked Utah Mountain Crest.
Johnson. And from Mountain Crest, Maddie Halligan.
6-15 is what they're showing on the scoreboard, if that's right. Star Valley in favor. All right, Kesson Johnson from Star Valley. She'll be taking on Madeline Halligan of Mountain Crest. Kesson working some great magic with her arm ties. Her opponent, very broad base. You can tell that she's definitely been at this for a few years. Kesson, though, does an excellent climb behind. Rolled right on through to gain the 2-point advantage for a takedown. She hooks the leg. That should be 2, and it is. The ref awards it. We lead 2-0. You can tell those opponents very just experienced stance. It's hard to describe, but you can tell when they can transition from one lead foot to the other, hips down low, back straight up and down. A lot of experience. So Kesson's definitely wrestling an experienced wrestler here, but she's proven her mettle. She can hang with those that are experienced. She gets a near side cradle on, locks it up tight, comes back, almost gets the points for near fall. Not quite enough time on her back, but she regroups. Mountain Crest trying to step over the hips. She reverses it to a far side half Nelson, stretches her tight. She's got one leg in, and if she can work that other hook in, which she's trying to do, and just kind of stretch the neck towards her belly, we'll put Mountain Crest into not only a world of pressure, but getting points. Mountain Crest does a good job coming over. She's a little bit high, and they do indeed award Mountain Crest with a 2-point reversal. Score's now tied up 2-2. What happened there, folks, is she lost the leg, and when you lose that leg hook, you're now high and potentially vulnerable for an experienced wrestler to hip over, which is exactly what Mountain Crest did. Keston still in a great position, though. She's going to get her high herself, turns and faces her. She's going to get an escape likely. Oh, and the time runs out. Excellent job turning and face her. Nearly got an escape. We're still tied up 2-2. Mountain Crest choice, she defers to Keston. Keston looks to a coach for advice. She says, let's go top.
Star Valley chooses top position for the beginning of the second period with the score tied 2-2.
Once again, Kesson Johnson, 120-pound weight class. Great little twist and roundabout there. We're doing a little dancing, but it works. Right back to the mat. She returns her opponent. The ref says we had a connection there. That's going to cost us 1 point. Now Kesson can slip her head out. She's going to maintain, and she does. She gives up 2, but she turns right around and captures him back again.
2 points, takedown.
Tied match 4-4. Once again, that was a fantastic display of recapturing lost points as Mountain Crest secured a penalty point. Also an escape. Kesson was right back in there, hard and fast, quick takedown of her own to tie it back up 4-4. We've got a near side cradle on, and she's working towards a tilt over towards her. She's going to put the knee in the position, and we get some counts. Ref is counting now. We're good. This is great. The ref stopped counting. I'm not sure why. To me, it looked like she broke that angle fair and square. I believe we got the full points. We're going for a fall, and it's a good one. Pin, Keston Johnson. Had we not had the fall, she was leading 7-4 and takes a commanding pinfall over Mountain Crest.
Up next, from Star Valley, Leah Allred. And from Mountain Crest, Danny Alexander.
All right. In case you didn't hear the announcer, we have Malia Allred up next from Star Valley. Her opponent from Mountain Crest, Danny Alexander, 125-pound weight class, Malia Allred. Malia had her sister wrestle earlier, Kaya Allred, another one of the fantastic sister duos on the team. Fuzzy. We apologize, folks. When the lights go out, the camera sometimes gives a little fuzz. We're trying to play with the zoom to alleviate that to some degree. Mountain Crest takes an early shot. Malia, great job defending, but when you get in the air, that's just really hard to defend. Mountain Crest takedown, 2-0. Malia fighting off the bottom hard. Nice wide base, comes back up to her base. Great job for Miss Allred. Mountain Crest has another breakdown, though. Malia's got to do that again, come back to her base. Malia Allred had the opportunity to spend some time on the mat in the offseason. Certainly improved her game. I guess I shouldn't say game. You play basketball and you play golf and you play football, but you don't play wrestle. It's hardly a game. It's 24/7 sweat. As soon as the time starts, you're on. There's no, well, maybe I'll have a timeout or maybe I will get the ball. You have the ball from the moment they blow the whistle, you are on. So it kind of takes it. Oh, an excellent job as she spins through. Give up a near fall, but if she gets that arm free, she'll get a reversal. The ref says, I don't think so. I think I would have awarded that, but it was hard to see from this angle, folks.
2 points, near fall, Mountain Crest.
Malia did a great job of spinning through. Almost had the reversal. She's going to get it again. Oh, come on, Malia. Come this way. A little more, a little more. Great bridge. She's fighting hard. Mountain Crest stopped her in her motion. That's going to be a tough position, ladies and gentlemen, as she fights off her back. Extremely tough as Mountain Crest has it tight. Malia is super, super strong.
And the winner by fall, Danny Alexander.
I tell you what, 90% of other wrestlers would have been pinned a lot earlier with that pinning combination. She was fantastic, bridging and twisting and threading her arm through. Great fight.
Lindsay Lawson from Star Valley. And from Mountain Crest, Aaron Smith.
All right. Lindsay Lawson, as Star Valley leads this duel 12-21. Lindsay Lawson going against Aaron Smith from Mountain Crest. Smith in early on a takedown. Tries to capitalize by getting back points, which it looks like she indeed is gaining. Hopefully Lindsay knows where her real estate line is. She's close to being out of bounds. It might be good to reset here. She's going over. She's almost there. She's fighting hard. Mountain Crest pulls her back on, but Lindsay is now off her back mostly. In fact, has a head and an arm and very well may get a throw here. She's got an escape. Excellent job, ladies and gentlemen. You've seen a great fight there by Lindsay Lawson. She was able to get off her back and also gain a point of her own. We trail by 4, 5-1. Lindsay Lawson at 130 pounds. Lindsay does a great down in the dirt single with the head and goes right to her back. That was textbook perfect as Mountain Crest finds herself struggling and will now be behind in this match. Lindsay, if she can lose that leg and step more over at a T and put a little more pressure on her chest, and she changes right off to a cowboy, this is tight. This is going to be tough to get out of. We've got a little time on the clock. We've got a little real estate. I think this could be fall, folks. This will be fantastic as she came back from being behind 4 points and is now in lead. Lindsay Lawson, fantastic takedown right to her opponent's back. And this will be extremely hard to wear out of, although there's only 20 seconds left and her opponent is working to hook the leg. Lindsay, if she can keep circling clockwise, that will further wear her opponent down. And that ref says not yet. Boy, what a bridge from Mountain Crest. Lindsay's still sucking up. We got 4 seconds left. Let's go pin, ref. Let's do it. And the ref lets the time run out. But we do gain a 3 points near fall. Lindsay Lawson leads 6-5 now. Mountain Crest choice. Mountain Crest takes neutral.
Neutral position to start the second period.
That ankle pick was just classic. A well-known wrestler by the name of Kel Sanderson probably put that move on the top of the charts for most successful, even in the collegiate and professional wrestling world. Mountain Crest has a nice slide by off of Lindsay's tie-up, and does gain a takedown for 2. That puts her ahead by 1. She has a tight power half on, but Lindsay does a great job fighting out of that. Comes back almost to her feet. And right there, if we could just either short sit out or just hip high knee slide, we're running out of room to get out. Well, we certainly don't want to get slung in the half, and she does, doggone it. Mountain Crest is giving some punishment back as Lindsay finds herself almost on the out of bounds. Let's see if the ref takes as long to award pin as she did for Mountain Crest, and I think he's going to be fair both ways. Mountain Crest is doing a good job. Oh! Well, ladies and gentlemen, awesome match fought by Lindsay. Some textbook takedowns, great finishes, excellent fight.
From Star Valley, Remington Allman. And from Mountain Crest, Michael Ferguson.
All right, you heard that's Remy Allman, Star Valley, in the 135-pound weight class, and she'll be wrestling, I think it's Nicole Ferguson from Mountain Crest. Star Valley still leads 18-21 on the dual points. Once again, Mountain Crest ranked number 1 in Utah. Star Valley unofficially ranked number 1 as well as returning and defending state champions. Star Valley started the season a little bit later, so the rankings are still somewhat getting fine-tuned. Utah's been wrestling for a substantially longer period, and their rankings are well established. Gives them a little bit of an advantage as far as time on the mat. They also have an advantage with mat time overall, with the women's sport being sanctioned much earlier than than Wyoming. Anyone's throw here as they go Cowboy, and Remy would have had that had we had a little bit more mat space. Back to the center we go. Neither wrestler able to gain the takedown there, but Remy certainly had the controlling throw. We're down about 1:10 left, first round. Remy Allman, 135 pounds. You know, wrestling does so much, teaches young men so much, but you look on the young lady side of things, just the pressure and being able to be disciplined, not just showing up for practice day in and day out, but to come and to wrestle, put on a singlet. That in itself can be a tough draw for some of these wrestlers. Wearing a singlet, being in front of people, knowing it's being broadcast, knowing that people are actually, women culture is you don't ask them their weight, right? Well, here we're posting it. We show the weight class they're fighting, and that is a sweet takedown by Remy Allman to gain a 2-point advantage, 2-0. Mountain Crest back to her feet, but unable to turn it into a reversal of her own as Remy controls the legs, takes her back down to her belly, and is going to work towards a Turk and try to get some back points out of this. And they claim locked hands. Now, I would contest that because if she has a bear hug on, that's a bear hug is not locked hands. Okay, she looked to the ref, obviously discouraged, to the coach. Coach says let it go. We might want to argue things when the stakes are a little higher, I guess. But I tell you what, I think I would have contested that myself. On a bear hug, folks, you can lock hands. And that's exactly what she had. And that's why Remy's obviously was clearly, visibly upset with that call. But she's going to take it back on with some punishment here. She goes right to an arm bar, and it's a fall. Remy Allman wins her match at 135 pounds by pinfall. I think that bad call was just enough to fire her belly up and say, all right, I'll turn it up just a little bit. Excellent job, Remy Allman, as Star Valley leads this duel 27-18. At 140 pounds, Lizzie Evans, Mountain Crest, will take on Star Valley's own Oakley Hepworth. Oakley Hepworth, I don't believe we've seen her tonight, but we did see Cashley wrestle earlier, and she made quick work out of her opponent. Once again, it's 140 pounds. Dairy tough Oakley Hepworth. The Hepworths own and operate a local dairy. Also do some beef production, beef cows. Oakley's father takes care of the feed store there in Star Valley, supplying pertinent feed and supplements and salt blocks and grains to livestock and panels and barbed wire and you name it. Their little dairy was opened back up, and they've done such a great job almost remodeling but keeping it at its kind of its old looking state. Have some neat historical photos hanging up of family members and how the dairy was in its peak. Black and white photos. They've just done a great job of cleaning up and reopening one of those dairies. It's just really hard to keep open in this day and age, as you know. And they've done a great job of supplying several people in Star Valley with not only milk, but they have other things in there, even chocolate and strawberry, and they even sell eggs. So you step back into time a little bit when you stop by Hepworth's Dairy. Just a fantastic place to buy your essentials like your milk and eggs, and feels good there. They've done a great job. Okay, Oakley in a great position to score, and she does get a 2-point takedown over her opponent to take the lead 2-0 in the first round. Oakley has her flat on her belly. Great place to be. She's put a little pressure on her leg. We call that the Iowa. If she can hook that leg, near leg to near leg, gives that up, goes back to fight. Oh, tags her arms together. That's going to be a penalty point for a 1 point to her opponent. Scores now 2-1. Oakley still leads. Folks, that's a false start. They're going to give that against Mountain Crest. If you start before the the ref blows the whistle, that's a caution. You do it again, it can cost you a point. So you have to be careful with those false starts. Mountain Crest puts her in a predicament, forces her almost to lock her hands to try to maintain control. Mountain Crest will move ahead by 1 point to lead 3-2. And takes an excellent ankle pick of her own, that Kel Sanderson signature move. And Oakley goes to her back. If she can bridge out of that, thread that arm through, and we run out of time, and that is perfect, folks, to be called Saved by the Bell. Great job, Oakley, for not just giving up and laying flat. She was able to keep an elbow cocked underneath there and stay off her back. Moving the second period. Star Valley top position. Now that was another caution. Let's see who they take that one to. Looks okay, so the third one will be a point. So Oakley, if she can kind of milk that a little bit. I'm just kidding. We don't want to milk false starts. Oh, and we knew she was switching, and she indeed does it. Sinks a half in almost immediately after. Oakley has got to stay down on her base. She does crack that angle, and folks, great fight from Miss Hepworth. We expect great things as she is starting. Just a brand new wrestler, brand new program. Hasn't had the advantage of having older brothers wrestle like so many of our wrestlers, but definitely has one tough older sister that's wrestling. All right, up next, 145-pound weight class. We have Maya Sanchez, Mountain Crest versus Belle Foreman. Star Valley, Belle Foreman, as you heard earlier, returning state champion, 2-year undefeated wrestler. And she takes that excellent blast double for an early 2-point lead. Belle Foreman just went up against some of the top-ranked wrestlers in all the states bordering Wyoming and has came out victorious on every one of them. She immediately goes to the cradle and gets the fall. Belle Foreman a pin in 29 seconds. Keeping her commanding record and undefeated on the season and last season. Belle Foreman, daughter to head coach Kendall Foreman. All right, ladies and gentlemen, up now is Brooke Schwab, her second year of wrestling, and her opponent is Hadley Glenn of Mountain Crest. Brooke Schwab, Star Valley. They are both fighting at the 155-pound weight class. Brooke Schwab has went once out of the gate this evening, had an early takedown and an early pinfall. First round pin, if I remember right, against her opponent of Skyview. So Brooke already doing some great things. Slips a climb behind and gets caught in the head and an arm, a cowboy or a headlock. Now Brooke can roll all the way through with her. She was doing a climb behind, but just got caught right in the middle of it. It was actually more of a duck under. She's cocked that elbow. A lot of time on the clock. This is going to be a hard fight, but if anyone can do it, Brooke can. If she can step over that leg, I'm not sure if she's worked on this counter much. And she might have been in a lot of pressure. Wasn't worried about that leg. Now, tough break for Brooke. And she definitely showed the commanding first initiative to get the takedown, but fell into that headlock.
And from Mountain Crest, Gracie Howard.
Well, folks, that narrows it up quite a bit as Star Valley takes the lead 30-33, only a 3-point lead. So Mountain Crest is starting to narrow that gap little by little. Shaylee Kuntz, she's your next wrestler at 170 pounds. She's going against Gracie Howard of Mountain Crest. Again, Shaylee Kuntz of Star Valley. And that's the look behind. That's a slide by kind of into a duck. I think that Brooke may have been attempting. And then she was trying to turn that into a climb behind, but just got her head caught. Nice sweep, takes it to 2. Shaylee does get sprawled on as Mountain Crest does a great job. Shaylee holding on the leg. No points awarded yet until Mountain Crest spins behind and gains full control, which she does not have. If Shaylee can come up to her base, which she does get, and kind of knee hop towards her opponent, she may be able to turn this into a takedown of her own after nearly getting spun behind on. We're going for stalemate. She loses the lock, and that's probably going to be 2, and it is for Mountain Crest. Shaylee's in a tough position. Mountain Crest has both arms, and what a fantastic fight. She was able to break that, get back to her base. Not quite her base, I should say, got back to her belly. She needs to come up to her base to keep that from happening again. Looks like Mountain Crest may be fishing for a cradle, and she is. Shaylee's got to kick out of that. She knows where she's at. And that's tight, folks. Not looking good. She's going to have to kick hard and go all the way over the falls, and she does it. Excellent job. Gains a reversal right on the out-of-bound lines.
2 points reversal.
Puts in a good power half of her own and says, let's get some paybacks here. Now, I'm not sure why we stopped it. I think they said full Nelson. Oh. I think that headgear just happened to be in the way. I don't believe there's any grabbing, but who am I to say? That was a tough point to sacrifice, ladies and gentlemen. We were only down those 3 points. Now we're down 4, 6-2. But Shaylee's proven that she's back into this game. Back to the back she goes. She's got to be careful with that headlock again. She needs to pop that elbow over, stay in control, up in the air, lift. If she can lift and return her opponent to the match, she'll gain back points as well. In that position, it's hard to think, it's hard to hear, it's hard to even see straight. You're getting your head pinched off. And she slips out of that. Boy, that was a little scary, a little risky. Puts the power half on, and we run out of time. Score remains the same, 6-2, going into the second. Shaylee's choice, looks to her coaches. Coaches say top. Coaches have done a good job letting the ladies work on all positions. In this duel, I think you'll find that they're working on the top position. Turns and good old mat wrestling. Rubber arms out, does a great job. It forces her to lock hands Mountain Crest did a fantastic job of rubber arming right out of there and was able to gain not only a penalty point, but also a 2-point reversal to take a 9-2 lead. Shaylee bellied out in a bad position. You've got to get that arm off. It's hard to reach up and grab that half because you risk getting it sunk in even deeper. So the best thing sometimes is just to keep down with the arm. And she does just that, rips the half off, comes nearly to her feet, and she gets a 1-point escape. Back in the game again at 9-3, second round. Shaylee's playing very heavy. We got to be careful that they don't call that headgear again. All right, Shaylee works back towards center. She's had a lot of air taken out of her. She's fought off her back quite a bit. Excellent low single. If she can elevate that now and keep circling. I'll tell you, Mountain Crest, very good at sprawling, very good at putting hip pressure on. Shaylee still has that leg if she can keep facing her. Keep spinning around that clock, clockwise. She's got her head, I believe, on the outside, which could turn into a turn the corner single, but they're going to call stalemate, folks.
Stalemate.
That's where the ref feels like neither wrestler can advance. And they start back, both wrestlers up. Boy, Shaylee's got some powerful shots. Mountain Crest is doing a great job defending those. I think we've seen tonight that Star Valley has been the initiator and the team that's shooting the most, taking the most risks. Mountain Crest, more conservative and definitely wrestling a little bit more defensive. Oh, and that's a high colot, and Shaylee gets out of that, puts the underhook in on her own and ahead. Front headlock, she's got it secured, and she might try to throw that, and she, gets one foot hooked underneath her. And that foot's going to cost her the takedown. And she is on the out of bounds, but she's got to fight bridge like crazy and will run out of room if she can get her legs out. Mountain Crest extremely smart at hooking that leg on the way down. And we run out of time to face another round. Mountain Crest choice, we'll see where she goes. I'm guessing she'll go down, or no, she's going to take her turn on top.
Mountain Crest chooses composition to start the third period, leading by a score of 14-3.
All right, this is where Shaylee needs to throw some magic, whether that's a Granby for 5 points and go for a change off to a pin. But we've got one round to make up a lot of points. Probably the best bet is to go big and try to work a pinning combination. Hard things about that, or the difficult thing about that, folks, is she's on the bottom. And when you're on the bottom that far behind, it's hard to work that pinning combination in just 2 minutes, because first we got to get out, either to our feet and go for a throw, or try a reversal where we could do some top wrestling and go for pinning combination from base. Mountain Crest obviously knew that, chose top, feeling like she felt more prepared to secure the victory, riding her out and maybe even gaining more points. All right, Shaylee's got to tuck that elbow in tight, tuck her arm in, elbow low to keep from getting rolled. It's a power half, and those are extremely hard to get out of. And Mountain Crest hasn't quite got her over yet. Shaylee doing a good job fighting. Looks like the angle is broken. We were giving up back points there. And in the third round, folks, this is tough. Your oxygen's been depleted. It's really hard to bridge. And Shaylee, after a good fought and great shots, does give that one up. But what a great match for both experience and for some video coverage to go back and review later. Great sportsmanship there by Shaylee Kuntz. Well, folks, for the first time in the night, the home opponent does take the lead by 3 points. It's now 36-33. It took dang near the dozen weight classes for them to pull ahead, and we're hoping that doesn't continue. Right now we've got, and that sprawl, keep your legs behind her. Oh, such a good fight. Stella Lynn from Star Valley. Stella Lynn will go against, I believe this is Audrey from Mountain Crest. Boy, that's a quick stalling call. I'll tell you what, I didn't know you could get a stall call that quick after the takedown. It just barely happened as she was regrouping. And Lynn gets taken over, and she does a good job twisting her hips. She's bridging, she's twisting and shouting. If we can get your soles underneath you and just bridge straight up. Oh! Well, Mountain Crest is starting to pull that lead as they advance another 6 points on the chart to take the lead 42 to 33.
From Star Valley. And from Mountain Crest, Rachel Godfrey.
Ashley Hepworth will be our next and final contestant. Shouldn't really say contestant, but she's our final wrestler. 235-pound weight class, and her opponent is Rachel Godfrey. Cassie goes in right off the bat, very aggressive. Tries to throw on her own, almost goes down as their opponent takes a leg. And Cassie tries to belly dump over, and not quite successful as they run out of mat space. Cassie exhibiting some great aggression here, forward pressure. That's what we like to see. See how she moves forward, her opponent moves back in. As soon as she moves back in, that's where Cassie will probably go under for her own shot. And they will probably ding the other wrestler should she continue to back up very long. As quick as they called it against Star Valley, I think that's only fair to give that stalling now. I think that's about the 15th step backwards. And once they move forward, that usually cancels out the stalling for at least a few more seconds. Cassie now at the head and an arm. Anyone's throw, and she goes all the way over, secures the take. She got her hips underneath her as Mountain Crest is able to advance. And Cassie finds herself in a, Now, ladies and gentlemen, tough break there for Cassie. She had the takedown secured. That's one thing as a team. It just takes some experience to prevent getting swam over, and that's exactly what happened.
We were not able to get to before the varsity match. We will start those in just a minute.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was a fantastic night of wrestling. Great duel between Mountain Crest, Utah, and Star Valley, Wyoming, as Mountain Crest takes the duel 48-33. Star Valley led the entire night up until the last three weights, which we just got caught on some good, solid throws. Our legs got underneath us on a match and on one of our throws of our own. But I'll tell you what, they really just capitalized off of our takedowns on those final few matches. But hats off to them for being able to do that and capitalize on our moves. Very good team, very good wrestling team from Utah. But Star Valley has nothing to hang their head low about. They fought hard, some powerful, good wrestling, excellent takedowns, great pinning combinations. Just a fantastic night of wrestling. I believe they announced that they're going to do a few more exhibition matches, so we'll go off the air as far as volume for a moment and see if we can get a coach to verify if they're going to have some more matches. So, ladies and gentlemen, hang tight if you want some more great wrestling this evening. I think that's what they are announcing, and it looks like a wrestler's getting ready. So, yes, there's going to be a few more wrestlers.
We'll have Sage Smith versus Hannah Sanders. Then we'll go Carly Angel and Amelia Choate, Lindsay Lawson, Anna Van Huss, and Hallie Monk versus Jocelyn Burgess. We'll go in that order.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we indeed are going to have some more great wrestling as we start back to 100-pound weight class. And this will be Sage Smith of Star Valley. Following her match, Carly Angel will enter the match for the second time of this evening. And I believe this is Sage's third match, if I'm not mistaken. So that's outstanding to get that much mat time in.
So Sage Smith versus Hannah Sanders.
Hannah Sanders, her opponent, Sage Smith, Star Valley. Once again, Sage, sisters to Paisley Smith. Paisley, a second-year wrestler. Sage, first-year wrestler. Only by virtue of her age, she is an incoming freshman this year. But I'll tell you what, to watch her you would never guess this is her inaugural year of wrestling. She shows the skill, the speed, the control, and the mindset of an experienced wrestler. And maybe that's from having an older sister on the team, but as you'll see, she just has phenomenal speed, excellent stance and posture. She's a tough competitor. Right off the bat, her opponent comes in strong, and you can see what I mean by that great composure and posture and her stance she maintains. Even after that throw, she stays upright. In a little bit of a predicament, she's still scrambling. They do give a 2-point takedown, but she does not get anything off her back. Right back up to her feet, fighting a half. She peels the half off, nearly gets an escape. And we go escape, 1 point against, or in favor of Sage Smith. Sage trying a little bit of her arm magic. She has some deadly arm throws here. Let's see if she can throw one of those on now. It looks like she's going to try it, folks. What she's going to do is she's going to spin back towards us with that hip down. She turns that in to a different move. Chain reaction, reaches over the head, almost like a far side. Oh, now we're going back to a headlock. It's anyone's takedown now. Boy, this could be a scramble of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. Again, this is Varsity Wrestling Sage Smith, Star Valley at 100 pounds. And it looks like her opponent's going to gain the advantage on that one, at least get out of danger herself. But Sage says, I'm right back in there. If she can slip that head out, she will actually advance 2 more points. Oh, and they're going to call it potentially danger. No. Oh, excuse me. Her opponent lost an arm. Ladies and gentlemen, if you lose an arm on a head throw, it is a 1-point award to the other person who's getting thrown. So in that case, she lost an arm, and that ties us up 2-2. Boy, and she's just all about headlocks, and this time it does work. She gains a takedown. I don't think there was enough for near fall, but there may have been. Score now 4-2 as Sage Smith trails by 2. Her opponent has a heavy half on and does start to get near fall, and that's when we like the clock to be on our side. Another 2-point deficit to lead by 4. I believe this opponent is maybe, no, excuse me, back to live wrestling. We're going neutral. Both wrestlers up. Oh, now that's where we get our head caught right there, and we go back, which is perfect. That's exactly what you want to do. She gained a takedown. It's now 4-6 as we narrow the gap. Sinks in a good half. Miss Smith, oh, boy, I tell you what, well, ladies and gentlemen, that's the breaks when you're down there closer than we are. It looked to me like she was going for the cross wrist, may have just barely rested her knuckles on her opponent's head. That's all it takes from many refs. They say, nope, that's full Nelson, we're stopping it. Oh, we're going to sacrifice another penalty point there for locked hands, it looks like. That's okay. Miss Smith wanted known to come back and wanted to keep fighting no matter what. She's going to keep that crossface on and keep her opponent from getting any more points because, like I said earlier, even when a locked hands call goes, they will let it go for a time period to let the wrestler gain any other points by advantage should they get an escape or a reversal. In that instant, neither one was progressing enough. The ref went ahead and stopped it, awarded the 1-point penalty in favor of Mountain Crest. Score now 8-4. We trail by 4. Sage Smith doing a good job keeping one leg hooked, as you can see. Bottom wrestler trying to fish that leg out. Sage throws a crossface in, tries to hold that elbow, but I think she's actually going to try to go underneath with that cross wrist between the legs and rock her back for a tilt. She gives that up. Has a good old half Nelson on. Drives it, but Mountain Crest stays strong. keeping one leg posted and avoids the near fall. We got the opposing coach there, almost jumping out on the mat for something. I'm not sure why, but he came out a little hot. Maybe he thought there was another full Nelson. Okay, we're in a little bit of a scramble situation here. This could go either way, and it looks like she goes to her back. Miss Smith goes to her back, and we get a reversal, and I believe they might award back points. Hopefully not. We move into the third round, Mountain Crest choice. We're going back neutral. Score 12-4 in favor of Mountain Crest. Now Paisley can do that slide, or excuse me, if Sage can do that slide by, but get her head a little further under the arms and past the ribs, just to keep from getting caught in that headlock. Looks like we're not going to do that this round. Instead, Mountain Crest does try a shot. There hasn't been a lot of those. Sage defends well. She's got her almost in a barbed wire. And if she can get her other arm, and she indeed does get it as she puts her opponent to her back, the ref says because the leg is not broke yet, we're not going to award points, but I'd start counting. That is definitely a time to count there, ref. We do go ahead and award the takedown, but we haven't got any swipes yet. There's the swipe. There they are coming. We've got to go for pin, folks. We are in the third round. We have 1 minute left. We trail by 6. After the near fall, we will trail only by 3, however, I believe it's 6-12 right now. So best thing for Miss Smith to do is just to suck up as hard as she can, lift, pinch, and squeeze, and put all of her weight on this move. We have 40 seconds left, and we do indeed get the fall. Excellent job by Sage Smith, Star Valley. After trailing by up to 8 points, was able to get the pin.
Carly Angel from Star Valley and Amelia Choate from Mountain Crest.
Fantastic job. Great wrestling. As I said earlier in her match, she's not one to back down, and she's one that can come back from behind and keep fighting strong. And she indeed proved that as Miss Smith takes that one by pinfall. All right, up next we have from Star Valley, Carly Angel, our other varsity wrestler at 105 pounds. And her opponent, I didn't get word, but you may have heard it over the intercom. I've got these earmuffs on. I don't hear the announcer. The announcer is probably as good as you do. All right, Carly Angel. She can keep that footwork going and not get into her tie. She does a lot better at her wrestling, her style. She's a little bit slower there, as her opponent is definitely trying to impose her will, which Carly would be a lot better if she would actually shake that out, come back and put on her style. And Carly's style is real heavy on the feet, moving back and forth and putting extreme pressure both on arm ties and shots. She's a magnificent shooter. She can shoot from about anywhere. Way to go. Penalty point. Carly nods, says, okay, I'll take it. Now she finds herself trailing 1-0. Now, if you notice that coach over there, he is very heavy on whispering to the ref when the headgear call, in his opinion, should be called. Locked hands, but the ref doesn't catch it. Carly gives up a takedown. Down 3-0. Fighting hands strong. Brings one leg up, not quite successful. All right. Carly trying hard to fight, but that's a tough half that she's got on. If she can keep her elbow in, oh, she reaches to peel it off. Sometimes that's more dangerous because they can get the half in tighter. You want a short grab on those halves, keep your elbow down low, and she gets out of it. And folks, she's going to go for a one-point escape. Nearly gets it. She's fighting hands. We go out of bounds almost. Oh, so close. If we had 2 more feet, I think Carly would have had that escape. Back to center we go. 35 seconds left in the first round. Star Valley down by 3 and also in the down position. Coach telling them to feel for that half. It's coming. It'll be ready to block or catch your hand. Carly comes up quick. Unable to get that tight waist off, though. Return to the mat. She needs to get her head back up. And that half comes in again, just as the coach predicted. And Carly, this time, if she can keep that elbow down low, she might fight. Unfortunately, that is a tough side of Carly's. She's been injured on that side for quite some time. Her arm doesn't have the strength as her other one. Her opponent does indeed get her wrapped over and advances by fall. And there's Carly with that bad arm, as I mentioned. And she's definitely nursing it. She usually has that wrapped up. I'm not exactly sure why she chose not to get it wrapped tonight, but tough wrestler. Oh, I think she's about in tears there. She gets a little consoling from the other side. Yep, that was her weak side. So, not that the other wrestler knew it. I doubt she did, but again, she usually has her arm wrapped up, but didn't have that tonight. Okay, back in the center, we have our next wrestler. Did you catch? Is this Keston? You probably heard on the air the announcer as I was paying more attention to Carly's injury. Again, Star Valley on here. I believe this is Kenna Merritt. If we're going in order of weight, and they indeed had a 110-pounder, it should be Kenna Merritt. Kenna fights Varsity for the 110-pound weight class for Star Valley. This second match tonight. Ref warns both wrestlers to take some shots. The wrestler that backs up the most, they will eventually call stalling for, which, if that happens twice, they will lose a point to the opponent. It's not? We're going to find out. I don't believe this is Ken, at least Shaylee. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, correction, this is Lindsay Lawson. So we skipped a few weight classes. This is Lindsay Lawson, Star Valley. And Lindsay finds herself with a head and an arm. Doesn't quite throw it quick enough before Mountain Crest is able to elevate, which is the ultimate counter to the Cowboy if they can get it on. Lindsay right on the out-of-bounds line, trails by 2. Going out of the first round, 20 seconds left, 2-0. Lindsay turns, faces her opponent, goes over the top, goes back down behind the armpits, which is right where she needs to be. Gets the 1-point escape to trail by 1, 2-1. The clock kept going, even though there was no wrestling time, so we'll see how they treat this. There should be about 7 or 8 seconds left. Looks like nobody caught the clock running through the break, but that's okay.
Mountain Crest chooses neutral position.
Both wrestlers neutral. We trail by 1. Lindsay Lawson, 130-pound weight class. Lindsay does have control of the arm. However, Mountain Crest has that overtie on and almost has a front headlock. Neither wrestler really having an advantage over the other. And she was able to push her head down and go for a spin behind for a 2-point advantage. Now leads 4-1. Lindsay trying to take a little pressure off that arm. And she does. She catches hand, goes over the top, over her head. If she can knee slide out and turn and face her opponent does a great job of, Lindsay does indeed turn and faces her and comes back to her feet. Sorry about the zoom there. It was reversed. We trail by 2. Lindsay Lawson, fantastic escape. Scores now 4-2. We're about 30 seconds left, second period. Lindsey Lawson from Star Valley against Mountain Crest. Mountain Crest has a great high C on the edge and does indeed advance the takedown to put it up 6-2. Now we got to be careful there because we can technically get pinned. Looks like the ref says toes were up in the air. Coach is going to contest that. Zoom out. So as long as the opponent who's doing the pinning has their toes in bounds, they will let the wrestling continue. Mountain Crest coach says, hey, I think we stopped that a little early. But if the wrestler's feet become airborne, even though they're in bounds, but they're hovering like a drone, they'll still call that out of bounds. As we said earlier this evening, that was a rule initiated, kind of advanced in the oldest sport in the world of wrestling, that college wrestlers picked up first, that they would continue wrestling outside the circle. High school then changed that and said, yeah, we like that too. We're going to match that. So you can still wrestle so long as one opponent's feet are within the bounds. The entire body of the other opponent can be out of bounds. You can still secure not only a pin, but also a takedown. All right, Star Valley, top position. Mountain Crest putting on the crab, almost gets an escape, but Lawson successfully takes her back down, has her broke down, reaches, looks like completely under her chin and goes for the crossface, hits it again, pops the elbow in a good position to either get the barbed wire on or cradle. Coach is saying, let's go barbed wire. She indeed does that, gets both hands underneath her opponent's belly. One in front of her face, one behind, and that makes it tight. She goes for she has her on her back, folks. We're down by 4, but this is going to put it within striking distance if we don't flat out pin her. She'll only be down by 1 if she indeed does fight off her back, but I think Lindsey has her fairly tight if she can readjust right there. We're starting to lose a little bit of the momentum. It may be time to well, she's going to cut her loose completely. Score was 6-5 momentarily with the escape. It's now 7-5. Star Valley now down by 2. Both wrestlers on their feet as Lindsey Lawson trails by 2. Third period, 50 seconds left. Little arm exercises there. See who imposes their will the most. To gather up either an arm drag or a climb behind. Sometimes we call it climbing the post, where we just give them a slight pull and go right to the near leg for a single leg takedown. Sometimes we look and we say not a lot's going on there, but there's a lot with hand control. Oh, and she takes almost a high C, does not clear her hands first. Mountain Crest takes advantage of that to gain a takedown. Score now 5-9 as we trail by 4. 10 seconds left in the third. We've got to do something like a Granby to be back in this match. And it looks like we're going to end that with a close decision. Mountain Crest takes that one over Star Valley, but a great match. Lindsey Lawson had some fine wrestling.
The last match of the night will be Hallie Monk from Star Valley versus Jocelyn Burgess from Mountain Crest.
All right, I think they mixed up that order a little bit. Jocelyn Burgess from Star Valley. This will be the last match of the evening. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, Star Valley led the duel, the varsity duel, all the way through. We did give up some pins there towards the end.
You have 2 more matches, I'm sorry. We'll have Hallie Monk versus Jocelyn Burgess.
We're going to have 2 more matches.
Let's
go to some of our sponsors. Hole 7, Summit Dirt Works. Hole 8, Grubbs Painting. This is on the Putz Mini Golf Course, put together by Jack's Drive-In in Etna, Wyoming. If you haven't had plans to go there this spring, put it on your calendar. Hole 9, Randy Thompson with Thompson Insurance Agency. So we sure appreciate Summit Dirt Works, Grubbs Painting, and Randy Thompson with Thompson Insurance for being sponsors for those holes at the mini golf course. Brand new, opening this spring. We'll do 3 more here while we're waiting. Hole 10 is DNS Excavation. Hole 11, 3 Canyons Restaurant. Need to get some grub. We appreciate their sponsorship for hole 11. Hole 12 goes to Big Sky Miniature Golf Construction. How fitting is that to be a sponsor for a miniature golf course? So we appreciate Big Sky. Hole 13 is Keith Wortman, Engel and Volkers of Star Valley. Also Abby Humes with the same company, and Paige Elise. We also have with hole 13, Melissa Ayers from Engel and Volkers of Star Valley. So we appreciate Ingers and Volkers and those great realtors for representing hole 13 with the Putts Mini Golf Course. Hole 14, none other than Star Valley Health. Hole 15, Fall River Propane. And hole 16, Pepsi of Star Valley. Last duel, we chuckled that all three of those are necessities for the Valley. Maybe we can rule one of them out. Well, Miles Beverage, we got to have Miles Beverage. Can't rule that out, but we all need propane. We all need our health. I guess we all need our drink too. So hole 14, 15, and 16, we appreciate Star Valley Health, Fall River Propane, and Pepsi of Star Valley, represented by Miles Beverage. Our final holes being represented and sponsored at the Putts Mini Golf Course is hole 17, JL Concrete and Construction. And that's with Jacqueline Shockey. Jacqueline, if it's Jacelyn, send me a text. I'll correct that. So we appreciate the Shockeys for helping there. Hole 18, Dustin DeMello and Shay DeMello. We appreciate their sponsorship for hole 18. Hole 19 is Outlaw Tees, exclamation point. Outlaw Tees. Again, we appreciate all those sponsors. As we move back to the match, live wrestling, Kenna Merritt, wrestling from Star Valley. Kenna Merritt normally representing the 110-pound weight class. I believe that's where we're at here with her opponent. Sometimes we'll wrestle up just to get the experience. She takes that ankle pick, almost secures it, aborts that, goes behind, has one arm over the head. This is anyone's takedown, and Kenna just gets a little bit too side-to-side parallel, and they're going to give her opponent the takedown. And I think some swipes are coming here. Now, if Kenna can thread that arm through, notice she's keeping her hips twisted, nice, and that will sometimes work back to the base position. Kenna comes up to her feet, almost gets an escape out of this. Extreme flexibility displayed here by Miss Merritt. As you can see, that is a tough position to get out of. We're about out of real estate. Kind of fighting hard to get out of that screwdriver, also known as a barbed wire. She knows the move well, so she knows how to counter it well. Oftentimes the best way to counter a move is to learn the move, and she indeed does not only counter, but gets a reversal for 2 points of her own. We now trail by only 2 points as she wraps up a near side cradle. Kenna Merritt working to pull her opponent back into her lap and get some near fall points. Her opponent was able to break that lock, so Kenna tries the near chop and a tight waist. If she can drop a little bit lower on that arm, she takes the half, sinks it in, gets it partway in, turns to a power half to help the leverage, steps out to the side, and we're going to turn this wrestler, I believe. Now she can sling her back towards her lap. Oh, and the other wrestler does a great job of defending, but Kenna doesn't give anything up yet, and no loss of control. Excellent fight from Kenna. Score still 4-2 going into the second period. Mountain Crest choice. Mountain Crest
chooses top position.
in the top position. All right. Kenna Merritt, strong on her base. Opponent has a half. Kenna do it good at fighting that off. Her opponent leaves the half and just reaches over. Kenna does a great job, goes underneath that arm and loops her back around for another 2 points to tie it up 4-4. And she gets her leg free from her opponent who was trying to wrap her up, gets an armbar on, and we're going over the falls for a count. From this angle, it looks legit. She takes the ankle to help, and over she goes. The ref is counting all of them. Kenna now changes off, has one arm up in the air, chin in the ribs. She's going to just gradually tee up on this side, work her opponent back over. She's going to change off to a barbed wire, it looks like. Ref has not awarded the points yet because he believes the move is too close to the original initiation. But she does have 3 pending points coming. And it's a fall. Excellent job. Kenna Merritt down at 1 point, comes back to tie it in knots to move ahead by 3 and finally get a fall. Again, that was Kenna Merritt, 110. Our next competitor from Star Valley is Jocelyn Burgess. Jocelyn will be facing Mountain Crest opponent. You may have caught her name. Well, folks, they said 2 matches left. I tell you what, we're about 4 matches past that limit, so we're making this evening count for sure. As Jocelyn takes a little bit of sprawl time, doesn't quite get it done, loses the takedown to her excellent aggressive wrestler Mountain Crest opponent. That's okay, we like aggression. Even when it's against us, it teaches us to step it up a little bit ourselves, as you've seen so many times in the matches tonight. Now she's got to be careful not to give up a cradle here. Stretch that leg out. If she can mule kick as hard as she can, and she does. Does a great job defending the cradle. Also doing a great job of maintaining hand control. Mountain Crest doing everything in her power to get her turned, and she does get a tilt, or a half Nelson rather. And it does look tight. We've got a good bridge going on. And she's twisted her hips good. If she can turn towards us just a little bit more and punch that free arm, it's not really free, but it's the one that's not being wrenched on, and not quite there, but a good fight by Jocelyn Burgess.
And that is our final match of the night. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate your attendance, appreciate the sponsors, especially appreciate SBI Media for making this broadcast possible and loaning out their equipment, their time, their expertise. I'll tell you what, it's a great evening of wrestling, and we'll see you this Saturday, the MC Philly Invite. I believe SBI Media will also be attending that one. That's going to be a tournament this Saturday. All Lady Braves, all lady wrestlers, including the Lady Braves. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. We're over and out.